have already begun to make this quite an occasion. You're watching there the flags of the Spanish fans from Valencia, whose colours are normally red and yellow, but who tonight Valencia will be wearing all white. The teams are about to make their entrance, and Arsenal have lifted themselves, we feel, from being in the team camp. Bob Wilson and myself, general manager of Bayern Munich, will be in the stadium tonight to watch Liam Brady, whose name appears on an Arsenal team sheet, perhaps for one of the last times before his expected departure to the continent. The Arsenal team is the one that finished the cup final with Sammy Nelson at number 3 and David O'Leary having passed a fitness test on that calf injury. Indeed, away to my right, the Arsenal team making their entrance, and Valencia coming from the left. The teams here come from opposite ends of the stadium, and number 9 in the picture, the famous Mario Kempes, the man who lit up Argentina in the World Cup finals 2 years ago. Pat Rice leading out the Arsenal side. Just to give you an idea of the rules tonight, in case this match should end in a draw, let me say right away, it has to be settled tonight. There will be extra time first off, and if it's still level, then the final of the European Cup Winners' Cup will be settled on penalty kicks. A beautiful evening, as I said, and a tremendous atmosphere inside this Heysel Stadium, where West Ham played in the Cup Winners' Cup final. I'm sure Trevor Brooking needs no reminding of that, 4 years ago when they lost to Anderlecht. The Valencia side then, the well-known names, number 8 Bonoff and number 9 Kempes. Number 7 Saura played for Spain against England in Barcelona in March. The right-back Carrete is a player who's really impressed Don Howe on the occasion he saw Valencia play. And the other man to watch for up front with Kempes will be wearing number 11. That's Pablo, the little fellow with the moustache and the afro haircut there. And in the picture now, Rainer Bonoff. The referee and his 2 linesmen come from Czechoslovakia. It's 10 years ago since Arsenal won the old Fairs Cup. Bob Wilson was in the team then, and indeed they played one of the matches of that 2-leg final in Brussels. Wojciech Krzysztof from Czechoslovakia, the referee. Saura is the captain of Valencia. He'll be wearing number 7. I'm just waiting for Pat Rice to come forward. And it's 20 years ago, incidentally, in the history of European football. We always mention this match since in 1960, Alfredo Di Stefano, the manager of this Valencia team, played perhaps his most famous match in the European Champions Cup final for Real Madrid against Eintracht Frankfurt at Hampden Park. That famous 7-3 victory back in 1960. And Di Stefano now is Terry Neal's opposite number in this Cup Winners' Cup final here in Brussels. Traditional exchange of pennants as the captains toss on this beautiful pitch. It really is very well grassed, the Heysel Stadium, not used very often, only for most important matches. No club side plays here regularly, and the conditions look set for a fine final. Arsenal wearing yellow again, as they did on Saturday. Slightly different style shirts, incidentally. A word on the shirts, Bob?
Well, it is hot here again in Brussels, although happily there's more of a breeze than there was at Wembley, where I believe the temperature was measured at around 80. But these shirts are specially designed and have a sweat-absorbent interior, in fact, to them. So they're hoping it'll help anyway.
They had one scare earlier today when UEFA at first decided this morning that yellow and white would not mix and that Arsenal would have to wear their traditional red. And I gather a set of red shirts was hastily dispatched from Highbury on the plane carrying the players' wives to Brussels. But finally UEFA relented and permitted Arsenal to play in yellow shirts and blue shorts. Valencia have worn an all-white strip in most of their European matches this season. You saw a glimpse of their form against Glasgow Rangers earlier in the competition. But bear in mind as well, they've also won in Barcelona and defeated Barcelona, the holders of the Cup Winners' Cup, by beating them in both matches. Valencia won 1-0 in Barcelona and 4-3 on their own ground. And their supporters here tonight, who've been making tremendous noises before the kick-off with their firecrackers and their bells and their drums as well, they're also going to lend a tremendous amount of colour to this occasion. As Bob was saying, it's Arsenal's 68th match of the season. Valencia have played nothing like that many, and Arsenal's 27th cup tie. And as Frank Stapleton may well reflect, of those 68 matches, Arsenal have lost, or the previous 67 anyway, Arsenal have lost just 10. And now the supreme test as to whether they will finish the season with a major trophy. After the disappointment of Saturday, Pat Jennings prepares for the European Cup Winners' Cup final on a ground where even he, in his long and illustrious career, has never played before. Alan Sunderland waiting in the centre circle because Arsenal will be playing in the first half from right to left. And away we go for the final of the European Cup Winners' Cup 1980. And here's Liam Brady on the ball for Arsenal. And the first foul is by Kempis. Arsenal have pushed Willie Young forward. Sunderland. Here's Sammy Nelson. Graham Rix, nice ball. Sunderland. Bonoff for Valencia, fouled there as he ran, but the referee waved play on. Pat Rice wearing the captain's armband. Challenged there by Pablo. Finds David O'Leary. Arsenal may have taken a calculated gamble on O'Leary's fitness. Young. Stapleton makes the run away by Arias, the big number 4. Kempis and Pablo will be the two players pushed furthest forward by the Spaniards, wearing 9 and 11 respectively. The others come from midfield, rather like the Arsenal formation. Here's Nelson. Stapleton pulling wide. Measured start by Arsenal. Talbot to Nelson. Here comes Young. Sunderland. Away by Arias. Kempis is chasing. Needs no introduction to anybody that watched the World Cup finals. He's also the top scorer in this competition with 9 goals in previous rounds, Mario Kempis. Subirats just leaving the throw for Botubot, the left back. This is Arias. That's Botubot. Right-footed player, although he plays on the left. Looks for Pablo. Valencia have scored more goals than Arsenal on the way to this final, but they've also conceded rather more. That's Kempis. Lovely skill with his left foot. Tried to find Sauer, and Graham Rix was back covering. Sauer in turn challenging him. That's Karate following up. And Karate left his foot there a little bit. You could see the reaction of Sammy Nelson. Now, Karate was first in with the foot there, and I think the referee may feel he's overreacting to the alleged retaliation, because these Spaniards are regarded, as Don Howe was saying to me before the match, as very good actors. Anyway, Karate's down on the floor, and the referee wants the throw-in taken by Bonoff. Solsona. Free kick given against Brady. So Valencia temporarily have got 10 players on the field. Bonoff to take the kick. In the way was Rix. Brady. Rix. Looking for Sunderland and Stapleton. The man cutting it out was Arias. Brian Talbot. Rice trying to get forward. That was Botubot. Rice again, Talbot. Young. Stapleton over on the right. Man going across to take the throw there is Subirats, the number 10, plays midfield. Arias looks for Kempes, offside there. Free kick to Arsenal. Just a quick word on the way it started, Bob.
Well, once again, Arsenal have started quite well. There's quite good possession from them. The only danger is, as we know, that Valencia are a side who often absorb pressure and then suddenly turn it on for spells.
Mistake by Willie Young was picked up there in the middle of the field by Solsona, whose pass hit Young, who then cleared it. Karate, the number 2, that's Kempes in your picture, but Karate, the number 2, appears to be all right after appearing mortally wounded for a few seconds. That's Solsona on to Bonov. Linesman flags for a free kick in Bonov's favour. Driven low, bit of a deflection there, and Pat Rice got the ball away from Pablo at the last. First shot coming in from Solsona. Well, Pat Jennings having no difficulty at all with that. The Spaniards are reputed to have one or two players apart from Bonov who can drive them from long distances. Arias goes up with Sunderland. That was Botubot. This is Nelson. Brady. On the right, Pat Rice. Sauer trying to get back to cover him. And in the way also there was Subirats. Solsona. Quick, neat player in the number 6 shirt, looking for Rainer Bonov. Botubot. Was a tackle by Sunderland. Bonov tends to take the throw-ins and the free kicks. Oh, he's found Kempes! Good save by Pat Jennings. And Arsenal caught out at the throw-in, and Kempes given the kind of space from which he scored so many goals, and denied then only by the Arsenal goalkeeper. The first clear chance of the match falling to Valencia. Sauer's gone across to take the corner. Away by Nelson. So the Bonov-Kempes combination already making itself felt. Kempes picked out from the throw-in and not terribly well marked. Pablo. Tackled by Rice. Here's Brady, moving across to the right. Stapleton. Oh, that's well played by Stapleton, and a pity that Brady couldn't have controlled it. Here's Solsona. Karate, the man who went down early on. Arias. Botubot on the far side. Kempes. Botubot's continued his run. Kempis finds Rainer Bonhoff. Solsona. And finally Brady. Surviving the untidy tackle from behind. Arsenal have got 3 men pushed well forward, apart from Nelson. There's Brady again. On the far post is Stapleton. Finds O'Leary. Was Price shoved? Apparently not. Ball was too high, really, and this is Bonhoff to Solsona. Interesting how many touches Bonhoff has had already. Arias taking the chance to get forward. Looks for Pablo. They'll try and use his pace if they can. And the Arsenal fans making themselves heard in Brussels. The big drummer, though, is from Spain. There's no doubt about that. Here's Torben. Saura. Carrete. Botubot on the far side. Carrete. Ricks getting a tackle in. And again. Referee had a word with Ricks off the ball as was played away. Pablo dropping a little bit deeper, looking for Kempis. O'Leary across. Rice. Kempis getting in quickly, and a free kick given to Arsenal. The Czech referee seems determined to make a firm start, but he wasn't kidded by that piece of acting early on by Carrete. That's promising for Arsenal. This is Brady. Stapleton. Oh, Bob, what about the save from Pat Jennings there from Kempis?
Well, it saves that we've come to expect from Pat, but what concerned me more was David O'Leary's non-marking of Kempes from the throw-in by Bonhoff. I saw David objecting immediately afterwards. I'm not quite sure why, and it's not a very professional thing anyway to be objecting at the time that such things are happening, but we've come to expect it from the big man.
So Valencia on the ball as David Price makes the challenge, and that's a foul. Arsenal substitutes are Paul Barron, John Devine, Steve Walford, John Hollins and Paul Vasson, the man whose goal you saw earlier in Turin, which put Arsenal into this final. Bonhoff well forward, and Brady. Willie Young getting up. Carrete. Bonhoff's made a run down the right now. He's offside. Nice ball by Brady to Ricks. Trying to get it inside to Alan Sunderland. Arsenal throw. Young has gone forward. Kempis has come back to mark him. And the goalkeeper coming for it, Carlos Pereira, 29 years old. There's Pablo. Botubot. Tendilio. Solsona. Subirats moving across to the right. Number 10. Trying to get Carrete inside Ricks, whose interception was good. Tidy pass too to Sunderland. Flag was raised. Valencia often in the shadow of their more illustrious Spanish counterparts, Real Madrid and Barcelona, but they do have a good record of league and cup wins in Spain. Botubot, now Arias. Arsenal appeal for offside given. by the Czech linesman. And again, Brady deep to start operations. Willie Young. Sunderland coming off his man and getting some room as well. Talbot, Stapleton. Talbot for the return. David Price. Shot struck Bonoff. Price again. Was away by Subirats. Price. Arias urging the others forward, especially Kempis. Just about 15 minutes gone in the European Cup Winners' Cup final and no score. The best chance falling to Kempis and a fine save by Jennings after 6 minutes. It's Karate, the right back. Pablo coming across. So too was Pat Rice, doing a marking job on the number 11. Bonoff's long throw. Kempes. Bonoff. Solsona coming in. Subirats is the player with Price. That's a goal kick.
Well, it's quite open really at the moment, the game. I think that what Arsenal have to beware of is the fact that somebody like Kempes, who goes out of games for such long periods, suddenly flashes into it, and when he does come into it, he possesses so much skill. Bonoff also, of course.
David O'Leary for Arsenal. Strains of the Arsenal song from the terraces of the Heysel Stadium. Pablo, though, for Valencia. Foul by Rice as the ball went. Solsona. Still Solsona, looks for Kempis. And Nelson for Arsenal. Foul by Botubot on Sunderland. Talbot. Brady takes over again. Sunderland. Stapleton. And Bonoff almost casually stepping in. Man who can play the game apparently at his own pace. The ball was out of play there. Ricks. Nelson. This is Saura coming back. Neat player again on the ball is Saura, looking for Karate. That was a bit ambitious. Talbot. Oh, and Sunderland's offside. Sunderland is spoken to about dissent. But the flag was up when Talbot released the ball. Arsenal with 2 league matches left to play after this Cup Winners' Cup final, and Valencia in Spain in the same position. They too could still qualify for the UEFA Cup through their league position. But the real honours lie in tonight's game. O'Leary underneath it. Nelson. Sunderland. Karate with Brady. Brady finding Brian Talbot. Pat Rice has gone up on the right wing. This is Willie Young. And a shot from Young.
Well, it's quite interesting. Arsenal are getting quite a few men forward. I mean, that was a good example there from Willie Young. But I do know one of the things that Don Howe hopes that they might do tonight that they didn't manage to do against West Ham, or West Ham didn't allow them to do, was to get men to the goal line, get the ball behind the defence and to turn the defence. And that's one thing he's definitely looking for tonight.
O'Leary's staying very close to Kempis, that's for sure, now that he's already seen him come through once. This is Willie Young. Nelson. That was won by Saura. Kempis in the middle, so is Pablo and Subirats. Subirats coming in, and the ball deflecting off O'Leary. Good break by Valencia. Tendilio's at the back, and he was beaten by Talbot. An Arsenal break with Graham Rix. Arsenal, such specialists in the counter-attack, will be hoping to move out quickly and smoothly like that. Here's Brady. O'Leary and Nelson. Sunderland again coming off sharply. That's O'Leary, though, overhead. This Spanish team are quite experienced. They've got a 19-year-old at centre-half, Tendilio, but the average age of the side, about 26. Valencia's 14th year in European competition. That was Young. Price. Free kick to Arsenal. So 21 minutes gone. Arsenal 0, Valencia 0. London voices echoing around the stadium as Willie Young comes forward. Stapleton. Talbot trying to find a way through with Stapleton. Sunderland. Back. Talbot following up, almost did find it. Still free, appeals for handball, and a free kick given anyway. Arias, the big centre-back, been attracting the attention of Real Madrid, I gather. Bonoff is pushed well forward again here. Subirats. Saura. And Talbot seen now in defence. Oh, he nearly let Pablo in. It'll be a goal kick. Well, he's a quick little fellow, this number 11. If anybody's confused by any names they've seen in the papers, his full name is Pablo Rodriguez, but he's known as Pablo to the fans and indeed to the Spanish press. Header by Price, looking for Sunderland. Botchubot across. Willie Young has gone forward now into the Valencia penalty area. This is Liam Brady. In the way, Kempis. Oh, Brady took it back. Three in the centre for the cross. Botchubot in the way. Brady again. Rix. Carrete is the defender. And Carrete pushes Rix. And that's twice Carrete, the number 2, has been involved in incidents. Arias is remonstrating with Ricks as well, and the referee has told Karate to take a throw-in and get on with the game. Tendilio. Solsona. That's Pablo on the run. Foul. Spaniards are getting their marking sorted out while you're watching Nelson take the kick. There's a man on Sunderland here and one on Stapleton there, but they've beaten them. Sunderland again. Foul by Tendilio, the young centre-half. Good position then here for Arsenal. Played back for Ricks to shoot. It hit his own player, Stapleton. Talbot turns it back to Nelson. Stapleton well forward. Price is there. It's Talbot! Strikes the defender. It's still free, though. O'Leary. Stapleton's up! Oh, and taken out by the defender. Karate on the line. David Price is injured in an earlier incident, but Stapleton was so close. And you'll see how close from this. Karate, the fullback, saved his goalkeeper. And while that was happening, David Price was on the ground, but he's up again now. Willie Young jumping at the back, away by Arias. Then Botubot, but Arsenal winning it back well. Ricks. O'Leary still forward, and this time an Arsenal infringement. Close thing there for Arsenal though, Bob.
Yes, and I think once again it's showing that Don's plan is really working in many respects. There are many players getting up there. David Price really, in a way, initiated that move by getting into the box. He took quite a knock at the time, but and then it was backed up so quickly by other players. And then the cross finally came in, and a good header from Frank Stapleton.
And a header there from Sammy Nelson. As Arsenal begin to get into their stride, and the fans get behind them. Sunderland on the far side with Botubot. One close thing then at either end so far, with about 27 minutes gone. Nelson's header, but a foul given. Kick to be taken by Karate. Kempis up. Subirats is in. But no power on the header as David Price, jumping with him, did enough to restrict the force of the effort. Good kick by Pat Jennings. Tendilio up with Stapleton. And a slightly untidy challenge by Sammy Nelson. And that's Saura, fouled by Ricks. Referee quickly in to avoid any retaliation. And a handshake between the two players concerned. Bonoff is up here. And now Ricks. Arsenal have got players running from all directions here up front, but the man who was quickest to the ball was Botubot. Here he is now, the number 3. Arias. As the drummer starts up again. That's tackle from behind by Carrete on Rix. Right in front of the Arsenal bench, in fact. You've probably got a view there of the Arsenal assistant manager, Wilf Dixon, clapping his hands. It's on by Sunderland. Arias. Kempis begins his run now. Pat Rice, the defender. So young for Arsenal to Brady. Suvarat's trying to close him down. O'Leary. Sunderland. Stapleton. Nice turn. Still Stapleton. Tackle was by Arias. Rice comes in. Carrete. Good supporting play on the right by Pat Rice. And here's the other fullback, Sammy Nelson. Young. Volleyed away by Arias for Valencia. But Arsenal had them pinned back there. Half an hour gone in this European Cup Winners' Cup final in Brussels, in the Heysel Stadium. Arsenal 0, Valencia 0. Here's Solsona. Bonov. Solsona again. Here's Carrete. Solsona. Carrete. Solsona and Rix having a little bit of a dig at each other. This is Solsona again, and Rix got a foot in. Tendilio. Price tries to cut them down. Solsona. Pablo. Pablo looking for Kempes. Nelson's there. Plenty of cover on in the Arsenal defence. Here's Brady. Stapleton comes across. Marked by Tendilio. The Atomium in the background there, the monument built for the World Trade Fair in 1958 to symbolise the splitting of the atom, one of the most famous sites in Brussels. And the stadium right in the shadow of the Atomium here. Stapleton. Rix. Wright has made a run up the right. This is Brian Talbot. Sunderland. Nelson.
Well, I think Arsenal are working very hard at this moment and perhaps have an edge, but I do hope they don't fall into or get lulled into a false sense of security. Last night, John and I watched the game, the semi-final game, the whole of the video in which Nantes, or rather Valencia played Nantes and beat them in the second leg. And there were many patches in that game when Nantes were well on top. And then suddenly out of what seemed deep defence, they were suddenly swinging right back into violent attack.
Nobody more so than Kempis, who got 2 goals in that game. That's Sora challenging for the ball with David Price. Rice finds Stapleton. Tendilio has gone across, little back heel to Rice. Here's Talbot. Rix on this side, so is Nelson. There's Alan Sunderland, and I think there'll be a yellow card. Bocciubot making the most of it, which is predictable. But the referee calling Alan Sunderland across, and the first yellow card of the final goes to the Arsenal number 8. For the trip on the number 3, Botubot. Well, the trainers always seem to hunt in pairs when it comes to continental clubs, but as you could see there, Sunderland clearly took the legs when the ball had gone. Don't think you could fault the referee for that decision. So the trainers are back on their bench, and it's a free kick to Valencia with 34 minutes gone and no score. Kempes. Here comes Pablo. Kempes. Saura. Solsona on the far side. But no danger to Pat Jennings. Tendilio. Arias. Ball's out. Arsenal throw. Sunderland. See the Arsenal players, the score 0-0 after 35 minutes. The Arsenal players watching that recording last night, noticeable how much interest Liam Brady and Graham Rix were taking in that match, because those players in particular have got a real interest in the overseas game and in continental football. Indeed, Brady's future may lie there very shortly, as we know. For the moment, it's Talbot for Arsenal to Brady. Here's Price. It's nicely done by Arsenal, and Pat Rice in attack now. Stapleton on the end of this, and Karate. Karate thought it was his throw, but it's been given to Arsenal to be taken by Nelson. Willie Young with the goalkeeper. Subirats down for Solsona. Brian Talbot checked him. Free kick to Valencia. Bonhoff. Solsona. It's nicely done. Still Solsona. Little deflection on the shot. Corner to Valencia. Pablo up with Pat Jennings, but only one winner there. Pat Jennings won a UEFA Cup medal in his days with Spurs, and also a runners-up medal in that same competition. But here in the Cup Winners' Cup final, no goals yet. 37 minutes gone in the first half here in Brussels. Karate with the throw for Valencia. Solsona. Botubot. Young's header, then Nelson's, now Rix. Again, good combination by Arsenal. That's Sunderland. This is a really good move. Brady joins the attack and looks for Stapleton. Pat Rice is coming forward. And away by Arias to Solsona. Arias joins the attack now. Bonhoff. Pablo is in there, and he just tried to work a little dummy and get Kempes in, but Willie Young, very sound for Arsenal. far side with Brian Talbot. Bonoff looking for the free kick, but not getting it. He's a man with a lot on his mind at the moment, Bonoff. He too could be on the move at the end of this season, like Brady, who finds Nelson. Sunderland. Ball coming off Ricks, then off Sowrah, back again to Brady. O'Leary. Young. Tendilio's header. Now Sowrah. Carrete. Carrete is now making a bit of a production of his latest injuries. Out your picture, there he is, number 2. He was hobbling again a bit there. Here's Solsona. Player with Willie Young is Sowrah. Just coming up to the 40-minute mark. 5 minutes left in the first half. Arsenal 0, Valencia 0 in the final of the Cup Winners' Cup. Brady for Arsenal. Sunderland. Ricks. Again, plenty of Arsenal players forward. Brady. Still Brady. Then O'Leary. Oh, it's a break on to Valencia. It's Arias, the number 4. Kempis wants it played left. Which was to Sowrah, in fact, who looked to have the best break on goal, but couldn't take advantage of the space. Case there where Arsenal could so easily have been outnumbered. Here's the man that made the break, Arias, but a free kick given. Bob Wilson making the point earlier that when Arsenal do push their back 4 into attack, Valencia very capable of breaking as they did there. For the moment, though, it's Rice with the kick for Arsenal. Sunderland and Botubot. Sunderland. Stapleton. Arias' header. Rice. Oh, Pablo beaten there by Brady. And Bonoff goes across to take the throw and tries to get Kempis down the left wing. O'Leary was there. Now Rice for Arsenal to Talbot. Well, Arsenal have not hesitated to push these defenders forward. They've got Nelson forward much of the time, and Pat Rice. Here's Nelson. Sunderland to Talbot. Ricks. Appeals for handball, but it's Arsenal's advantage anyway. Nelson. Willie Young with the header. Then Ricks. Stapleton tries to get in with Tendilio. Corner to Arsenal. Really resulting out of a very poor punch by the goalkeeper. Didn't seem terribly confident on the cross. 2.5 minutes left in the first half. Corner to Arsenal. But this time he is confident and takes it well. Solsona. Combining with Subirat, then looking for Bonoff. Bonoff challenged by Brady, then by Talbot. Shakes them both off. Bonoff's cross. Rice came across there to do a good covering job for Arsenal. It's a good run by Bonoff. Brady. Talbot. There was an air of calmness there about the Arsenal defence, even though Bonoff had taken 2 of their players out of the game. That's Young. Solsona. Kempis just dropping deep for a moment. Solsona. That was Tendilio looking for Carrete. Bonoff's down the right again, but that's very poor ball from the fullback. So Liam Brady starts things off again, just in front of the Arsenal back four. And he finds Stapleton. Corner of Tendilio. Less than a minute to go of normal time in the first half. Arsenal's corner. Here comes Willie Young. Well, unorthodox, but quite effective from Pereira. Back by Rice, then Young, now Brady. Ricks. Whistle's gone. And the linesman has come onto the pitch, thinking that it's half-time. I'm not so sure that the referee had blown for half-time. But the players coming off anyway, with no score after 45 minutes of this European Cup Winners' Cup final.
Trevor here, that we haven't lost faith in Arsenal by any means. We still think they're going to do it, but we'd like to see just a little more action, Bob.
Well, thank you very much, Jimmy. John Watson here at the beginning of the second half with Valencia about to kick off. No substitutions. Valencia in all white, playing now from right to left. And Arsenal gave their supporters a wave as they came out for the second half, and the terrace away to our right was suddenly a mass of red and yellow flags. The referee, Christoph from Czechoslovakia, just checking his watch, and Valencia get the second half underway. The ball with Carrete. That was Sammy Nelson's header to Brady, and now it's Ricks. Stapleton. And Ricks again. Header away by Arias. Brady. This is Stapleton. The defender is Tendilio, the teenager. Solsona now for Valencia. Pablo Kempes against O'Leary. Good play by O'Leary. It's a supreme test for him, this, marking Kempes. A match in which he dearly would love to do well, and he's doing so under the handicap still of that lingering injury. This is Brady. That's a nice play by Arsenal. Talbot getting forward again. Sunderland. Stapleton and Price in the centre. Rainer Bonoff getting a foot in there. It was a telling tackle too. But that was a good piece of chasing back as well, and typical really of Brian Talbot that he should be so energetic in what for him, as well as Arsenal, is the 68th match of the season. He's played in every one, the number 4. The only Arsenal player who has. Here's Brady. There's Ricks. It's Price over on the far side, but the ball is out, and a chance for Bob Wilson to make his first comment of the second half.
Well, the first comment really takes up the points made at half-time, that one thing perhaps the television screens don't show is the amount of players Arsenal did push forward in that last 30 minutes of the first half. Most of the time, when they were going forward, there was either one central defender and one full-back only. The rest of the players were in the Valencia half, and that's the way it started now.
Bit of a tumble on the far side, and Graham Ricks, the man that went away hobbling slightly. He's been having one or two tussles with the man holding the ball there, Carrete, the right back. Both teams, incidentally, according to normal European rules, can use any 2 of their 5 substitutes at any time during the game. Rainer Bonoff to take the free kick for Valencia. Safe enough. John Howe pointing from the Arsenal bench. Terry Neal thoughtful next to him. The Arsenal subs nearer to us, and Roger Thompson, the reserve team coach, nearest the camera. Pat Rice. David O'Leary. well worth making the point that a British team has been in one of the 3 European club finals every year since 1965. It's 16 years since Britain didn't have a side in the final of one of the 3 club tournaments in Europe. It's a tremendous record, and one that Nottingham Forest and Arsenal have furthered this year. Here's Subirats for Valencia. Rice. Arias. That's a fair ball too, but Botubot, stretching, couldn't quite make it. Alfredo Di Stefano, one of the legendary figures of European football, but now feeling the tension as much as any other man in his profession. Played some great matches out there on the field. All he can do tonight is sit and watch. Willie Young for Arsenal. Nelson to Brady. Here's Sunderland. Sammy Nelson is well forward in the centre if Arsenal can get the ball in, but the whistle's already gone. Just a reminder that if the score should remain at 0-0 until the 90 minutes are up, we have half an hour's extra time, and then the possibility of penalties, which neither side would really want. And here's Wright away. Tendilio across. Brady. David Price coming in at the far post. Often gets in on those headers, David Price, when the 2 front men are more closely marked. But the most anxious moment for the big goalkeeper so far was when his fullback cleared off the line from Stapleton. And we've yet to see just how good he is, the goalkeeper, when he's truly tested. Solsona for Valencia. Pablo. Bonoff's made a run forward here. Pablo on the ball, though. Still Pablo, that's Bonoff. Beautifully done. Solsona. Still Solsona, the shot hit Willie Young. Solsona following up, lost out to David Price. Now Sunderland. It was a fine ball just earlier there by Bonoff. This is Ricks, though. What a tangle, and Sammy Nelson took the feet of Karate away. And again, this referee... There's no silly retaliation. What are you doing? Free kick. And Solsona's there. Sauer making a run, checking him.
Well, Valencia pushing forward there in themselves in numbers, and very nearly a chance for Kempes on that left foot. That was Bonoff, who has really been quite disappointing, suddenly setting up that chance, or nearly a chance for the Argentinian.
Here's Sunderland for Arsenal. Now it's Rice. Brady for Arsenal. Oh, it's beautifully done by Liam Brady. Trying to play the little 1-2. Brian Talbot involved again. Referee in the way. Willie Young. Stapleton. Karate. Fullback takes his chance to come forward, hounded by Graham Ricks, who was eventually penalised. Karate to Bonoff. Now Subirats takes over. Solsona. Bonoff. Overran it slightly, it came off Talbot. Bonoff got a bit of a kick, I think, after he let the ball go. This is Willie Young, and now Brady. Di Stefano watching anxiously from the bench. Still no score in this Cup Winners' Cup final. 8 minutes into the second half here in Brussels. And he's shouting out the instructions there, the famous Argentinian as he was by birth, Di Stefano. This is Ricks. Sunderland's on the run. Tendilio with the clearance. Carrete. Oh, the fullback made a good run there. Went through beautifully. Kempis is in the middle and so is Sauer. It is still Carrete. And Willie Young's there to shepherd away Mario Kempis to get a free kick in the process. He's now Rice. Pablo getting back. Bocubot playing it with Pablo, then Solsona, then Tendilio, then Bocubot. That was Rice. Young. Brady. Little check there by Sauer, but Brady survives. And again, he finds Sunderland. Now Stapleton is in the sector. Oh, good play. The idea was certainly right for Arsenal. And Carrete makes the mistake. Just signs there that the Valencia defence were losing their concentration to semi-open for Arsenal, and the goalkeeper makes his feelings felt with the defenders. Pat Rice retrieving the ball. Sunderland on. Sorry, by the way, if your commentary sound is not coming through too clearly back at home. I understand there may have been one or two technical problems, but we're doing our best to sort those out. There's certainly no score. 10 minutes into the second half. And anyway, I should imagine the pictures tell the story. That's Solsona to Carrete. Subirats. Price getting back with him. Free kick against David Price for the challenge on Subirats. Bonov, who tends to have the biggest say when it comes to what Valencia do with the set pieces. Five Valencia players waiting in a long line here as Bonov steps back some 30 yards from goal. And drives one, he got a deflection, and Sauer is the man who retrieved it. It hit Solsona. Sauer's cross, away by Brady. That's Solsona, who the free kick actually struck. Sunderland gets the ball away as far as Arias, and that's offside. Bob Wilson.
Well, it's a little bit ominous for Arsenal at the moment. There's far more method about Valencia in the last 5-10 minutes, and they're keeping the same men up the front, whereas in the first half they only had Kempes there. Pablo's there up the front, and Sauer virtually all the time now.
Rice for Arsenal. Stapleton. Talbot's come through, and he goes for the near post, Brian Talbot, with a little chip, which was just off target. Frank Stapleton feeding the ball in there, and Talbot trying to get accuracy on that chip, but the goalkeeper, Pereira, would have had that covered anyway, I feel. The Arsenal fans again beginning to get behind their side. So disappointed on Saturday, but so many of them have spent a fortune comparatively this season following the club. And here they are again tonight, some 13 or 14,000 of them in Brussels to watch this Cup Winners' Cup final. Tendilio. Rice. Sunderland. Botubot was the first defender, Arias was the second. Arsenal beginning to make a little bit of headway on this right-hand side in the last two attacks. As you can see, it's an expansive stadium, this. Very nicely designed. Just in front of the team benches there. A throw into Arsenal taken by Rice. Kempis back in his own half. And he gets the free kick. Di Stefano again barking out his instructions. But with 14 minutes gone in the second half here in Brussels, there's still no score in the Cup Winners' Cup final of 1980. Price for Arsenal. Ricks. Stapleton started a run and he got a yard on his defender there. Bendelio it is, trying to tangle with him and succeeding. Carete. Pablo. Carete. Solsona. With a good piece of chasing back by David Price. Here's Brady. Oh, Nelson giving it away to Saura. Carete. Bonoff is up. And it was Ricks who got back, and that was a superb intervention by Ricks. And a lovely break by him too. Played it early, just a little too hurriedly perhaps at the end. One of the best pieces of individual skill we've seen initially there by Ricks. He won the ball and then here he is again doing the same. He's found Stapleton this time. Can he find Price? He can. Price shoots. Well, I think Arsenal deserved the shot on goal there after the work Ricks had done, and David Price volleyed it with his right foot, and as Pereira went across his line, the ball dropping the wrong side of the post for Arsenal. That came in the 16th minute of the second half. Saura. Talbot. Here's Young. And now Rice. Rice looks for Stapleton. And Arsenal enjoying the last 5 minutes of possession and pressure and hoping they can turn it into a goal. They've got everybody forward now, bar Sammy Nelson. All 9 outfield players, including O'Leary, have pushed up apart from him. Sunderland, Rice. That's Willie Young. But he couldn't get any real power or direction on the header. And Don Howe is obviously not pleased with the way that attack finished. He takes his seat again. The ball is over on the far side with Pablo. It was Saura that got checked. Referee having a strong word, but not actually taking out the card there to Sammy Nelson. Free kick to Valencia then. Kempis backing into them a little bit. It was Willie Young's header. Stapleton the target. Carete chopping a little bit at Stapleton's ankles. Brady for Arsenal. Ricks. Sunderland. Botubot with him. Sunderland asking for a free kick, but nothing doing with the referee. Terry Neal now
distracted by something behind him. I think it was a cameraman actually trying to get a closer view of the bench that's upset them there. This is Arias though. Kempes, oof, against O'Leary, and he turned it in only to Nelson. It looked threatening for a moment, as it always does when Kempes gets the ball in a 1-against-1, but O'Leary held him up long enough to make the final ball innocuous. This is Talbot. Ricks. Haven't seen much of Kempes, but as Don Howe was saying last night to us, you don't often see very much of him for long periods in the game, but around the box he can be lethal. Carrete for Valencia. Solsona. Bonhoff breaking forward. Saura. Pablo. Kempes. Pablo. Bonhoff. Good run from the back. Oh, and headed out by David O'Leary quite superbly. Magnificent header out by O'Leary. A relief for Arsenal, that. Brady tries to put Stapleton away. Sunderland. Sunderland's cross. And again, Don Howe trying to get the message across as Kempes gets the ball for a Valencia side who now seem to have their tails up again. There was a period of Arsenal pressure and now Valencia getting back on top. This is Saura. Little Pablo. Arias coming forward. Solsona. Bonhoff's made the run, he's offside. Been a long season for coaches as well as for players, but Don Howe still finding the ambition to motivate and try and put things right. Here's Brady. Brady shot! Oh, he saved it! Pereira turning it round. And Brady there went inside his man, and it was on his left foot as he picked up pace, and Pereira came to his left to make the save. Arsenal hopes were high then with Brady. Willie Young was up, but so was Bonhoff. Saura on the break. Brady doing some defending there. This is Nelson. Arsenal still with players forward in abundance. Stapleton jumps. And as he does so, there's some pushing. 21 minutes gone in the second half, and still no score in this European Cup Winners' Cup final. With the prospect of extra time growing, of course, as the second half wears on. O'Leary. Pablo. Bonhoff was square of him then, but Pablo went the other way to Solsona. Now Subirats. And now Saura. Brady for Arsenal. Again, 4 players ahead of him. There are 5 now. That's for Ricks, but it's just overhit, and Arias gets in. Saura. Bonhoff, he won't reach that. Neither side have used either of their 2 permitted substitutes, but with the possibility of extra time, there won't be any rash substitutions. Here's Young. Turned on by Price as Stapleton in turn tried to turn Tendilio. And now it's Valencia's turn to break. Pablo. Solsona. Bonhoff. Subirats making the break on this side, Tendilio, but Subirats has found Saura. Now Tendilio, and a poor cross too from the centre-back who'd come forward. Made life easy for Arsenal and for Jennings. Sunderland, Stapleton, Talbot, Rice, Sunderland. Talbot's in the penalty area again. Sunderland's cross. Oh, and the goalkeeper didn't hold that first time, but there was no Arsenal player near enough to take advantage. Some more good work on the right, though, by Alan Sunderland there. Sammy Nelson, very composed on the ball, and here's Pat Rice. Brady. Now, which side can finish stronger at the end of this tiring season as Young plays the ball forward for Stapleton. Back heel meant for Rice, but... Oh, and yours too there from Solsona. Beautifully done. Plays the ball down for Bonoff. Bonoff is through here with Kempis just inside him. It's Bonoff gone all the way. And Jennings saves in true Pat Jennings style. Threw himself down and got either the legs or the body in the way. But Rainer Bonoff, a player of his quality, I wonder whether he should have scored. It's easy to say that from here. But he was clean through it, but the angle wasn't good, and Jennings came to narrow it anyway on the post, on the 6-yard line. He fell, Pat Jennings, and again, it nearly went through his legs, but not quite. Played short for Pablo. Sara. Well, that was a break by Valencia that Arsenal could well have done without, but Jennings saving the side again. Have a word from Bob when we get a break in play about that. But for the moment, there's plenty of action, which Di Stefano is doing his best from the bench to have a say in. And the free kick to be taken by Arias for Valencia. Willie Young's header out. Carrete. Kempis and O'Leary. Kempis stripping his man. And the referee scuttles up to have a word with the Argentine World Cup star. 25 minutes gone, nearly 26 minutes in the second half. Arsenal 0, Valencia 0 in the Cup Winners' Cup final. Ricks for Arsenal. Stapleton. Ricks. Talbot is well forward here. This is Brady. Still Brady, but in the end he ran into too many players. That's Pablo. Solsona. Good challenge. Oh, well, it was a foul according to the referee. It was Ricks who went in. But he's certainly done his fair share of ball winning, Graham Ricks, in this second half as he goes away there. The night sky gathering over the Heysel Stadium and over the Atomium as Valencia prepare to launch their next attack, which is cut out by Willie Young. And now Brady appeals for a foul, but Pablo gets away with it. Subirats looks for Solsona. Kempis is in there as well, but so was O'Leary, staying close to him. Tendilio. Arias, Arsenal are pushing forward. They've checked a little bit now. Bortubot. Carrete on the far side. Actually, the Valencia players building up again through Solsona, the man who impressed Bob in the first half. That's Bonoff. Carrete. Brady was back on the edge of his own penalty area there. That's Talbot shaking off Sara. That's a save that Pat Jennings has made so many times before with his feet. This is Brady. O'Leary. Sunderland. Kempis. Solsona. Nelson coming in on Saura. The referee let the first one go and he let that one go. This is Talbot. Brady. Ricks. O'Leary, and an Arsenal player down, lying on the floor in the Valencia half at the moment. Alan Sunderland, I think. This is Stapleton. I think that's Sunderland who's down. This is Rice. Ricks. And Tendelio comes away, and still Sunderland's down. O'Leary cuts that out, and he's holding his face, Alan Sunderland, as though he may have got an elbow off the ball. Certainly he was booked earlier, you may remember, for a little bit of a, well, for a tripping offence on Botubot, the number 3, and I wonder if Botubot there might have put the elbow in when the ball was nowhere near them. Anyway, it's Sunderland now. He's turned him. Good cross. Stapleton goes in. Brady. Talbot. Bit of a mix-up in the defence. Ricks. Lifts one high for David Price. Well, a word first, Bob, about the save from Pat Jennings.
Well, as you said, John, it's a save that he's made so many times before. When youngsters talk about Pat Jennings and idolise him, I say idolise him by all means, but don't copy him. You know, the majority of keepers go in, would dive in that situation. But Pat's reactions are so sharp, and he's so brilliant with his feet. It's a much more open game now, and I think it's a brave man who'd predict the score.
Well, they've got about 15 minutes to settle it in normal time. And here's Nelson for Arsenal. Sunderland tries to turn his man and gets a free kick, I would have thought, but the referee said no. Pablo, away from Brady. Botubot, Solsona. Pablo's wandered a lot more in the second half. That's him on the ball now. And it's Ricks trying to win it back. Pablo. Bonoff's made his run down the right wing, marked by Brian Talbot. Bonoff. Well, the linesman was closer than anybody else, and with 15 minutes to go in the second half, he gave the decision to Valencia. A few firecrackers still exploding around us from the Spanish fans as their team mount another attack. Pablo to Saura. Still Saura with Nelson on the ground. A real tangle there. And Pat Jennings decides he'll come and claim the ball, and why not? Certainly the best way out of that little mess. And gives Arsenal the chance to draw breath and build up possession again with Talbot. Willie Young has pressed a long way forward in this attack. Here's Stapleton. And Young can stay forward now because Arsenal have got a throw. As Tendelio got his foot in there. Brady. Cut it back for Ricks to shoot. It was going wide and out again. Oh, what a good effort. So close as Young came in at the far post there with Sunderland. That was the nearest Arsenal have been. Graham Ricks fired it with his left foot and it flew across the face of the goal. And as Sunderland came in, it was so close. Brady. O'Leary. Young. Brady. Stapleton is closing in here. Well, Valencia will look upon that as a real let-off, although the goalkeeper can't go without credit. Well, there have been chances. There have been chances for Arsenal, and there have been chances for Valencia, but still, with 12 minutes to go, there's no score in the European Cup Winners' Cup final. That was Willie Young. Young's presence in the penalty area when Arsenal have attacked has been quite a factor. He's occupied one and sometimes two defenders. But the goalkeeper was able to make a despairing save there from Sunderland. Here's Bonov. Carrete. Saura. And again. Saura, the captain of Valencia. And Rice, the Arsenal captain, takes the throw. It's Brady. Saura. Pablo has come down the left wing. Number 11. Kempes is in the centre, being joined now by Solsona. Saura's made another run. Still Pablo. In the end, he found a way back to Rainer Bonov. Right across for Carrete. Avoided the challenge nicely. Solsona looks for a target, but doesn't find one with that. Well, that was a near thing at the other end, Bob.
Well, it certainly was. I'm not sure that Graham Rix wasn't intending, in fact, to shot at goal there, but it flew across the goal. Willie Young was getting in there, but it's a pity Alan Sunderland perhaps didn't see it coming a little bit early, because in the end he had no alternative but to throw himself, almost like a human torpedo. And the goalkeeper made a good save. In fact, both goalkeepers are keeping this game at 0-0. Which is where it stands with about 10 minutes to go in the second half. 10 minutes away then from extra time in the Cup Winners' Cup final. As if Arsenal's season hasn't been long enough. Nelson. That's O'Leary. Pat Rice nearest us has just thrown away the shin pads and rolled one sock down. He's pulled it up again now. He's taken his pads off. Stapleton to Price, looking for Sunderland. Away by Arias. That was Willie Young. Now O'Leary. Can Arsenal draw on their huge reservoir of strength and energy in this last 10 minutes to snatch the goal that would mean glory at the end of this marathon season? Everybody in England will be hoping that they can. But here's Saura for Valencia. Arias coming forward. Solsona. Saura. Still Saura. Shot hit Nelson. Saura still. Bonov. Looks in the middle for Kempes. Headed it back, but fortunately for Arsenal, straight to Price. And on the break, Arsenal have got 3 against Valencia's 4. Stapleton. That was a foul.
Mario! Mario! Malboco!
Here's Brady. O'Leary. Sunderland. Away by Pablo. Kempes has started his run down this side. O'Leary stretched, but Young was covering. This is O'Leary. And now Brady again. Trying to engineer something through those Valencia ranks. He's found Talbot, who's found Stapleton. Talbot pushed rather wide by the return, but he's shaken off Carrete. Young finding Nelson over on the far side. And the goalkeeper's given it to Young. And he's got to get back now. He's back, actually. This is Talbot to Brady. Anxious moment that one was for Pereira. He'd really committed himself. This is Nelson. Similar sort of ball he's attempting there. This time Solsona took it out. Rix. Still Ricks, good skill. Brilliant. Oh, and Cendilio took it out. It was a very, very good clearance. And vital, too, for Valencia, with 3 Arsenal players coming onto the ball, which is what Bonoff's doing now. Free kick to Valencia against Brady. Stefano demanding more effort from his side with 7 minutes to go. Arias. Out to Carrete. Still Carrete. And Ricks was back in defence, tackling there. Had a good match, Graham Ricks. This is Price. The 2 strikers have made their runs. This is Talbot. Here's Stapleton. Sammy Nelson's in the attack now. This is Talbot. Nelson's in the centre, waiting with Sunderland for the cross. And it was Pablo to whom it fell. And he finds Solsona. Casual ball it looked, but it was beautifully played by Bonoff to Pablo. And now it's Subirats on the ball. Subirats tries to bend one round Jennings. And it all started with a very telling ball from Rainer Bonoff, which got Subirats there, in behind the defence. And he tried to curl one, and it was some way wide. As you can see, the Arsenal players feeling the pace after the exhausting programme that they've had to get through. The socks roll down, and several players' cases, and here's O'Leary. Only 5 minutes left of normal time. O'Leary to Sunderland. Arsenal throw. Brady. Sunderland. What a good effort that was again. David O'Leary has managed to join the attack once or twice, and Arsenal have really pushed players in, but it was Talbot there who came from midfield to make the telling header. But it is interesting how many players at times Arsenal have got forward. Talbot comes in there and heads wide, but none of the back 4 have been afraid to come up as well. Here's O'Leary. Only 4 minutes to go of normal time, followed by the strong possibility now of half an hour's extra time in the Cup Winners' Cup final. Arsenal 0, Valencia 0. This is Subirats. Tries to find Saura. Don Howe, Terry Neal and Wilf Dixon, whose side summon more strength still. Brady. Brady to Price. Price's shot going away all the time. Do you fancy either side to settle it now, Bob, in the last 3 or 4 minutes, or extra time?
Well, I wish one side would settle it, John, but I don't think they're going to now, really. I think it's going to go into extra time. And, well, I hope it's settled then, because I think it would be dreadful if it's going to go to penalties.
Well, that's the possibility. But Sunderland, looking for a possibility on the left, had no chance with the ball running out of play. Some Chelsea fans may recall that their side in the Cup Winners' Cup final in '71 went to a replay with Real Madrid. That was the rule then, but it's since been changed. The match must be finished on the night now in the Cup Winners' Cup. Foul given against Kempis. And here's Ricks. Stapleton's made his run. Brady. Oh, players in the centre waiting for a cross. Sunderland now. Price. Ricks. And Bonoff back there, chesting it down with all the calm arrogance of this player who looks now for Kempis. He's fighting away with O'Leary to try and get the better of him, and O'Leary fights back. It's a really compelling battle that, and O'Leary gets tremendous applause for shaking off Kempis and finding Talbot. And now it's Ricks. And now it's Talbot again. Sunderland. Botchubot beat him, and he's given Valencia the chance of a break with Saura. Kempis is just behind him, but it's still Saura. And now it's Solsona, and Bonov's made a run through now into the inside left position. Saura, though. Saura to Subirats. And on the far side, it's Karate. Karate's cross. Willie Young's header out. Only about a minute of normal time left. Tendilio for Valencia. Pablo. It's nicely done by Pablo. Bonov, I think, has got a slight injury at the moment. He's certainly taken a breather and is walking back very, very slowly. But it's Valencia coming forward again now. Botchubot. Looks for Kempis, Young in the way. Subirats. Saura. Subirats. And Rick's looking very, very cool, even at this crucial stage, with only seconds remaining in the 90 minutes. Brady gets fouled by Bonov. And the crowd beginning to settle themselves down, thinking it'll be extra time, but this is Talbot for Arsenal. Talbot for Stapleton. And now for Pat Rice. And now for Liam Brady. And its whistle's gone. Extra time. Resuscitation of all types now. And Arsenal and Valencia go into the extra half hour. And before we hear from the panel back in London, let's have a quick word from Bob Wilson.
I wonder if they'll think about making a substitution. I'm looking at the list here. You've got lads like John Hollands with a tremendous amount of experience. He might just be the sort of lad to go on for somebody like David Price. I don't know what John and Bob think out there, but David Price is not involved too much at this end, and maybe he's just doing a good job filling in.
Trev, would you make a substitution?
I think it could be a good time to bring on somebody. The lad Vasson, who's a striker and got the header in Italy, could be interesting to see him come on. But I think the lads, they must be drained, and certainly some of the lads do look tired and extra dangerous. And he made a great tackle out on the line on Kempis, and he's done a terrific job on him all game.
He's winning that battle with Kempis, and I mean, to support Bob's point of view, I mean, Arsenal don't look beaten. They look as if they're in with as good a chance, certainly, as Valencia of winning the match.
Just a reminder about the substitutes rule. You can use any two from the 5. And I won't worry you with the rules about penalties until or unless it happens. Half an hour's extra time first, 15 minutes each way in the Cup Winners' Cup final of 1980. Arsenal in the yellow shirts against Valencia in all white. Ricks for Arsenal. Stapleton. Arias. Here's Bonov. Had one of the chances that could have settled the match, was denied by Jennings. Looks for Kempis. O'Leary with him as always. I think the referee is going to give a free kick there, shoving by Kempis on O'Leary. Needless to say, we shall be staying live here in Brussels till the end of this Cup Winners' Cup final, but the news naturally will follow on afterwards. And the man hoping to make some news in the next few minutes, Liam Brady. Looks for Sunderland. Sunderland bent one in, but much too close to the goalkeeper. Pereira, who made a couple of useful saves in that second half. Arsenal, in fact, are at this moment warming up all their substitutes just in case, running up and down the track, all by Paul Barron. That was Subirats looking for Saura, away by O'Leary. Tendilio. Botchubot. Saura. Flag was up anyway for offside there. Here's Nelson. And this is Pablo. Bonoff's made a run. Solsona. Arias comes from the back. Kempis peels away to the inside left position. Ricks gets a foot in again. Done some good defensive work, Graham Ricks, and some nice attacking play from him too. He's got Sunderland in the centre, Stapleton further back at the moment. Still Ricks. Trying to get it back from Carrete. And Carrete working hard to set up Valencia. Ricks again gets the foot in. Good tackle, he played the ball. Talbot. Sunderland no. Runs on towards Kempis. Here's O'Leary. Price. Still Arsenal show the energy and the concentration and ambition that you would think would have been drained from lesser sides before now. Brady's cross. Talbot. Momentum taking him way off the pitch. Kick towards Kempis. Shoved by O'Leary, says the referee. Free kick to Valencia. Pat Rice was spoken to for kicking the ball away there. Now, what will Bonoff engineer from this free kick? Solsona. Solsona shot! Good effort by this industrious midfield player, who in fact cost £450,000 when he was signed by Valencia from Espanyol of Barcelona, and that remains the highest domestic transfer fee between two Spanish clubs. Solsona, number 6, who hit that shot. Willie Young for Arsenal. Stapleton. Oh, that's a nice turn of pace by Frank Stapleton. Tendilio was stretching, which he had to do at the expense of a corner. Got a feeling that we might be seeing John Hollins very shortly as an Arsenal substitute. There is some sign of activity on the bench, but for the meantime we stay with the play and Brady's corner. Goalkeeper punching and away by Pablo. Here's Ricks. Oof, what a drive. It hit Rainer Bonoff in the small of the back, and he's gone down as though he was poleaxed. That's a foul by Willie Young. Clear case of obstruction when the man had gone past him. And Pablo's making the most of that. But Bonoff is absolutely curled up in pain. He's not in your picture at the moment, but he got that shot from Ricks right in the small of the back. And he's wringing his hands with anxiety, because if you just watch the way, if we're going to see it again, we're going to see the Willie Young foul, in fact, rather than the shot. But that drive from Ricks was going at tremendous pace, and it really hammered into Bonoff. So, a free kick to Valencia in the first period of extra time with no score. Nelson still looking very cool at left back. That's Sunderland. Then Ricks. Now then, can he... just too far ahead of Brady because Arias was there. Brady pushed well forward in that attack. And here's Arias again. Bonoff is waving his colleagues forward, saying, let's really have a go at it now. It's very late in the day to do anything else but push players up and hope that one side can settle it. Here's Pablo. Here's Bonoff. Nobody would really want penalties, surely, although Bonoff will have memories of the European Championship final. '76 when Czechoslovakia beat West Germany on penalties. O'Leary's slip, Kempis, Bonhoff, Kempis. What a scramble. Kempis, in the end, was just crowded out. Brady cools things down.
Saura!
Brian Talbot coming forward.
Saura! Saura, ahí un poquito ahí. Al medio, Saura!
Pat Rice also. Alan Sunderland with Botubot, who's been shadowing him all night. Number 3. Still Sunderland, though. Brady. Brady to Ricks. And the header out has found Pablo. Kempis is ahead of him, and Bonhoff's joined the attack as well. Here's Kempis. Solsona. Carrete. Carrete's ball in and O'Leary's header out. Halfway through the first period of extra time and still no score. And neither so far have there been any substitutions. That's Carrete, the number 2. Bonhoff. Oh, is he given a free kick against Nelson for the foul on Sarri? Yes. Arias and Tendilio have both made their way forward. Kempis drives one, and it was bending, but not enough. On the right-hand side of the penalty area, they used Kempis to try and bend them with his left foot round the wall, round the goalkeeper, but on that occasion he was wide. Di Stefano wondering if his side can settle it in extra time. And 15,000 Arsenal fans wondering if theirs can, plus all those watching at home. Here's Rice. Price to Talbot. Price. In the middle is Alan Sunderland coming in now. That's his header, but no power. Did well, in fact, to beat Botubot. Kick is too long for Kempis. O'Leary's header wasn't sure, though, and Rice had to cover Kempis. 5 minutes left in the first period of extra time, and the tension showing itself on the bench and on the field. Stapleton, that's a good header on. If Talbot could get there, it's asking a tremendous lot for a man to make runs like that now. This is Carrete. Bonhoff. Ricks tries to get in.
Vamos, vamos!
Here's Arias. Well, what drama we shall have here if it goes to penalties. Bonhoff. Carrete. And now it's Pablo. Still Pablo. And looks for Kempis, and O'Leary stretching, just made it. Arsenal with Ricks. Fed across to Stapleton, but it's just asking too much of him, that. Still no score. Arias. Just under 4 minutes left in the first period of extra time here in the Cup Winners' Cup final, and neither side able to finish off one of several promising moves that each have had. This is Brady. Sunderland makes his run down the right. The linesman says onside. That's Botubot who was with him, but the referee has penalised Alan Sunderland. So then, number 10, Javier Subirats for Valencia, no score. Carrete. Bonhoff. Subirats. Solsona. Beautiful skill. Carrete. Solsona. Subirats. Kempes. Subirats. Price. Jennings. Another piece of unfussy work by David Price, and he's there waiting for the throw out from his goalkeeper. And now also with his socks rolled down, Sammy Nelson. Stapleton. Price. Brady. Price. Sunderland just holding it up slightly for Price to come in. Stapleton has pulled away at the far post, but Price couldn't get round Tendilio. But a minute and a half left in the first period of extra time. Solsona for Valencia. Down the line is Saura making a run. Kempes has gone deep. Pablo. Saura. Bonhoff. Pablo continues his run with Pat Rice marking him. Solsona. Pablo, number 11. Header out by Brian Talbot. And again Arsenal try and muster up some energy to make a break. This is Sunderland looking for Stapleton. Marathon men now this season, all these Arsenal players. They've gone so far, but can they clinch the major prize in the last minute of the first period of extra time? Still no score. Referee looked at his watch twice. On by Subirats, but there's no chance of Kempes getting there. O'Leary's got all the time in the world. Brady. Nelson. O'Leary. This is Young. Price is well forward in the attack again. This is Talbot. Now Sunderland letting it run on, but not as far as David Price. Instead, Carrete, but the referee has blown for the end of the first period of extra time. And we'll just keep our eye open now to see. The referee is waving the trainers off. He won't allow, this is a UEFA ruling, that when extra time is being played, the teams must change straight round. And referee Christoph wants to prevent anybody going to the bench from massage or attention or even a glass of milk, as in the case of Rainer Bonhoff. The Arsenal bench, where there was some activity earlier, John Hollins has got his tracksuit bottoms off. The official attendance, by the way, has been given to us here at this Cup Winners' Cup final. It's 40,000 in the Heysel Stadium. And a reminder for those of you who are watching in England that the national news will follow when this Cup Winners' Cup final finally ends, which could be after a further period of extra time and then penalties. And now a substitution by Arsenal, and it looks like John Hollins. John Hollins, who played in the Cup Winners' Cup final for Chelsea against Real Madrid 9 years ago. He didn't play in the replay because he was injured, but he played in the first match. And he comes on now for David Price. Arsenal exchanging a midfield player. So Hollins, who they bought for a bargain fee at the beginning of the season. Paul Barron in the picture there, and the bench just settling down again as Price goes off. So, 15 more minutes before we have penalties to settle this European Cup Winners' Cup final, and the score is still Valencia, who are kicking off, 0, Arsenal 0. Arsenal now playing left to right. And it's Subirats for Valencia. Bonhoff, Kempes, Pablo. Bonhoff looks for Pablo on the inside of Pat Rice. It'll come back for Solsona. Bonhoff, Pablo. Still Pablo. And still Pablo. Free kick given against Liam Brady. Arias was at the back. Two players taking a tumble and the referee calling that evens. So just a reminder of the Arsenal substitution. John Hollins on for David Price. We're in the second minute of the second period of extra time. And this is Pat Rice. Liam Brady, who will be one of the 5 penalty takers if Arsenal have to go to penalties. Here's Hollins. Hollins cross. Oh, Stapleton was coming in on that. This is Brady. A chance of a shot by Brady. And it skids off a defender. Arias, in fact, it was. John Hollins with the header. Firecrackers in the background from the Spanish supporters. Arsenal's fans doing their best again to lift a side who by now have been through just about every hurdle this season of examination and tiredness. This is Solsona to Subirats. On the far side, Carrete for Valencia. Plays it back inside again. Subirats. Botubot. Bonhoff's made a run, but that's near to Jennings. Talbot's made his run down the left wing. Look at that. What energy. In the centre, Sunderland and Stapleton. Brady now for Arsenal. Kempis trying to track him back. Now Nelson. Oh, and Kempis did get a foot in, but a free kick's been given anyway. And it's been taken quickly by Arsenal to O'Leary. This is Rice. Big Willie Young is up there stretching. Following up is Ricks. On this side is David O'Leary. And Sunderland tries to get in. Stapleton this is. O'Leary. Sunderland, no. No, offside. Offside when the ball was originally played to O'Leary. No goal. David O'Leary in the attack, trying to bend the ball in, but he was offside there when he crossed the ball before Alan Sunderland ran in and finished things off. So the ball in the net, but the linesman's flag clearly raised. Here's Subirats. Kempis. Oh, it's going to come on to Saura. And Saura took it just a bit too far, and O'Leary did very, very well to make the angle impossible for him. Well, now is somebody going to snatch it? The signs are that Di Stefano sees an opportunity for his side, but Arsenal have got theirs too. Here's Brady. Ricks. Still Ricks. And still Ricks. Looks to the referee that he was shoved, but there's a goal kick given. Arsenal flags. Just saw them in the background there as Ricks somehow finds enough energy to get back to his defensive position. Kempis. Hollins. Looks for Sunderland. Oof. Taken out there, and a good thing it was too by Botubot for Valencia. Good thing for Valencia, that is. Solsona looks for Kempis. O'Leary is with him, and a lovely header by David O'Leary. Cool under pressure, even at this late stage. And John Hollins. Valencia are warming up Castellanos, one of their substitutes. This is Sunderland, this is Stapleton. And this is Subirats to Pablo. Pablo again. Solsona. Forward runs by 5 Valencia players here. Solsona. Pablo. Still Pablo. And it was a shot by Solsona in the end, with over 6 minutes gone, and Castellanos, the bearded midfield player who actually can more or less play anywhere, he's appeared in all positions this season, Angel Castellanos is going to come on, and the man going off will be Subirats, the number 10. So both sides now have made one of their permitted 2 substitutions. I ought to remind you that only players who are on the field at the time the match ends can take penalties in the competition. Here's Brady, normally the Arsenal first choice penalty taker anyway. Hollins. Nicely out to Ricks. Sunderland is in there, well taken by the goalkeeper. As Sunderland closed in. Carrete, Bonoff, Nelson in, Arias, Kempes, Solsona. Oh, it's going to come out to Saura, but it was well headed first by Nelson, and now it's Brady. John Hollins has made a run from midfield. That's for Sunderland, though. Botubot's header. And it's finally picked up by Arias, who finds Solsona. Carrete to Castellanos. Man who's just come on. Rainer Bonoff's out on the right wing at the moment. Kempes is playing deep now. And they pushed Arias forward, and Castellanos makes a run. This is Pablo. Pablo to Castellanos. Castellanos, a nice turn. And then lost control. Well, we are 8.5 minutes into the second period of extra time, and the first European club competition final to be settled by penalty kicks looks imminent now. This is Pat Rice. Funny that Uli Hoeneß should be in the stadium, because he was the man who missed the penalty in Belgrade in '76 when they settled the big European Championship final that way. But there's still a few minutes to go here yet. Brady. Willie Young is well forward. Gets up well too. Willie Young again. It's Young. Charged down the shot. And in trying to win it back, Willie Young finished up on the floor. And it's a break by Valencia, with Bonoff going down the right wing there with O'Leary. Talbot. Nelson. Ricks, who's shown that turn of speed and ability to go past people all right tonight. Look at that. Oh, he's been brought down. Carrete, the number 2. Yellow card. Yellow card for Carrete. Graham Ricks was just picking up pace. He'd beaten the player and he had his legs taken from him. So a free kick to Arsenal. Young is forward again, of course. Taken by Nelson. That's Young putting it back in, and some pushing by Willie Young, says the referee, before Mario Kempes cracked the ball away. Well, now, we're what? 4.5 minutes away from penalty kicks. The Arsenal players didn't know until last night, by the way, that penalties would be used. They thought there would be a replay until they were informed of the new UEFA ruling. Castellanos heading it on. Hollins. But there's still time in these last 4 minutes for somebody to settle it the normal way. Pat Rice. Castellanos. Kempes. Oh, and Kempes just losing out to O'Leary. And there's a few nerves jangling out there now. I think nobody wants to make the critical error at this late stage. And the Valencia supporters in front of me, as Terry Neal exhorts his team, have kept the ball for a moment, which is the reason for the delay on the field. It's finally been retrieved. And it's Young for Arsenal. He looks for Stapleton, and this is Bonoff. Well, presumably Bonoff and Kempes would be among the Valencia penalty takers, should it go that far. Dead ball experts. Young. Stapleton. On this side was Brady. It was Pablo that got back. Castellanos to Saura, who's got Kempes forward. It's Saura. It's Castellanos. And it's too long for either of his colleagues. And Rice hesitated with, Hollins rather hesitated with Willie Young. But in the end, John Hollins turned the ball back and got up forward as well, as you could see. That's Brady. Now Pat Rice, the Arsenal captain. 2.5 minutes left. Nelson. Ricks. Stapleton with Tendilio, appeals for handball. Stapleton. Still Stapleton. Frank Stapleton penalised. There are 2 minutes left on my watch of extra time. 2 minutes away from settling the European Cup Winners' Cup in a penalty competition. So, if that happens, we really will be holding our breath. Kempes is the target for this. Over O'Leary's head it goes, and back by Pat Rice. Looking for Sunderland. Hollins with the throw. Sunderland's cross. Here comes O'Leary. Offside against John Hollins. And there's just a minute to go. Solsona. Pablo. Referee blows, and as he does so, there are only about 40 seconds of extra time left on my watch. The score is still 0-0. Bonoff has pushed well forward for the free kick. So has Kempes, of course, as O'Leary's header out, and now Liam Brady. Oh, beautifully done by Brady. Talbot. In the final seconds now, the referee's checked his watch yet again. And he's going to blow any second here, and he has, and it's penalties. Well, well, well. Let me start by explaining what happens now. For those of you who've not seen a European tie settled this way, we've had extra time, or prolongation as they call it out here. The referee, for whom this is also a new experience, obviously, has double-checked the rules. He's talked to both his linesmen. He's got everybody else off the pitch. He's talked to both managers, and he's now walking forward with the ball. And it's Mario Kempes, the man who won the World Cup for Argentina, against Pat Jennings, the man who's saved so many matches for Arsenal. You couldn't ask for two greater protagonists with which to start this unique competition. And Pat saved it! Oh, Pat Jennings has saved from Kempes. What a start for Arsenal. He took it with his famous left foot, and Pat knew which way it was going to go. And what a save. Now then, don't lose track of this. Even if Brady scores, they're turning away on the Arsenal bench. But don't forget, this is just the beginning of the competition. Brady against Pereira. Oh, and he saved it as well. Goodness me, we're back to square one again. They both missed. Liam Brady went for the goalkeeper's left, and Pereira must have moved. Look, he moved his feet, and surely that should have been retaken, in my view, from here, but you can argue about that yourselves. Solsona then, against Jennings. A goal! Struck with all the venom of a man who knew he was going to score. Daniel. What drama here. Stapleton puts it away. So it's 1-1. Stapleton with his right foot. The goalkeeper made another good attempt to save that, actually. Pablo. And Pablo scores to make it 2-1 and put the pressure back on Arsenal, and I think Alan Sunderland. Pablo is a left-footed player, and he beat Pat Jennings down in his right-hand corner. Now, can Alan Sunderland make it 2-2 with Arsenal's third kick? Pereira, the goalkeeper, being told to get back on his line. Sunderland. Goal. Pereira moved again, as a matter of fact, but it's in. I think this goalkeeper's moving all the time from these. Anyway, it's a goal. It's 2-2. And Castellanos has come forward, and it's crucial now. If anybody misses now, it could be fatal. Castellanos is allowed to take it because, as a substitute, he was on the field of play at the time the game ended. Castellanos against Jennings. Oh, it was in on the underside of the bar, I think. I think it actually probably went in off the underside here. Castellanos making it 3-2 to Valencia. And it went in off the underside of the bar. A bit fortunate, maybe, but Brian Talbot's under immense pressure here. After this, there's still one each to be taken. Talbot for Arsenal. Oof. Well, it went in. Now then, it's going to be 3-3 with one each to take. And Rainer Bonhoff, we see Talbot's penalty going again there. He put it right in the corner, didn't he? Keeper went near it again, though. Rainer Bonhoff comes forward. And I think it may be Johnny Hollins to take it after this for Arsenal, their last kick. But Bonhoff, the scores are level. Bonhoff aims to put Valencia into a 4-3 lead, and there's pandemonium on the touchline. Bonhoff now scores. And Hollins must score to keep Arsenal in the competition. Bonhoff has made it 4-3 to Valencia, and if John Hollins misses, then Arsenal have been beaten. But if he scores, then other players have got to be recruited from the bench to continue the competition in sudden death fashion. John Hollins, after all these years in the game, and Paul Barron, no wonder he looks concerned. And he scored! Well, there's no greater pressure than that. And now we're 4-4, and it's sudden death. In other words, the actual competition is over, but it's square. So now each side will go on taking them until somebody misses. Different players each time still. But of course, even if you miss, the other side must have the chance to put theirs away, and vice versa. It's got to be an equal number taken by each team. And again, the referee explains what's going on, and Bonoff discussing it with the linesman, but as I understand it, Bonoff can't take another one. Each made a great save, and then saw themselves beaten by the other 8 kicks. There's a slight Valencia player, they're number 4, and I would then think it might well be Graham Rix. This is sudden death now. It's a question of each side taking one until somebody misses with the even number of kicks taken. Arias. Oh, it just went in underneath Pat Jennings, I think. Or perhaps just to one side of him. Just see it again here. Arias hit it with his right foot a little bit nervously, I thought. But as Jennings goes to the right, it does in fact go just by his arm. So, Graham Rix has to score to keep Arsenal alive. If he misses, Valencia win. That's why Arsenal, taking their penalties second, are under greater pressure until Valencia miss another one. Graham Rix, as Paul Barron watches again. There are one or two of them actually who don't really want to watch this. But now Rix. Oh, he saved it! And Valencia have won the Cup Winners' Cup, because Graham Rix's penalty was saved by Carlos Pereira. And the Valencia players go wild with delight. And poor Graham Rix, the sort of situation no player would ever want. He's being consoled by his teammates as we see the replay. But believe me, that goalkeeper moved on at least 3 of them. And if you wanted to apply the rules literally, you could say it should have been retaken. And we've nearly been hit by a firecracker here. And Rix is consoled. And Arsenal have been beaten, and Valencia have won the Cup Winners' Cup in a penalty competition which went to sudden death, and Arias scored for Valencia, and Rix's penalty for Arsenal was saved by Carlos Pereira, who I believe moved. But at the end of 120 minutes, we didn't have a goal, and then on penalties, Valencia beat Arsenal 5-4. They win the Cup Winners' Cup. They're in the competition next season, and